The evening sun cast long shadows across Namsen Park in Seoul as Do-won Kim walked home from his veterinary classes. The young man was tired after a long day of studying animal medicine, but he always enjoyed taking this path through the park. The fresh air helped clear his mind, and sometimes he would see interesting birds or small animals. Do-won carried his heavy backpack full of medical books and wore his usual white coat from the university clinic. His black hair was slightly messy from the long day, and his round glasses kept sliding down his nose. At 23 years old, he was in his final year of veterinary school, and he loved every minute of it, even when it was hard. As he walked past a group of old pine trees, he heard a soft whimper. Do-won stopped and listened carefully. There it was again, a sound of pain coming from behind some bushes. Many people would have walked past, but Do-won couldn't ignore an animal that might be hurt. It was why he had chosen to become a vet in the first place. He put down his backpack and moved closer to the sound. The branches scratched his arms as he pushed through the bushes. What he found made him catch his breath. There, lying on its side, was the most beautiful fox he had ever seen. The fox's fur was silver, but not the normal gray silver of regular foxes. This fur seemed to shine with its own light, like moonlight on water. Strange marks that looked almost like writing ran along its sides. But what really caught Do-won's attention were the animal's eyes. They were a deep purple color, and they looked at him with an intelligence that seemed almost human. The fox was hurt. Do-won could see a deep cut on its back leg, and it was breathing in short, quick breaths. When he moved closer, the fox didn't try to run away like a wild animal should. Instead, it watched him carefully and made a soft crying sound. "It's okay," Do-won said in a gentle voice. "I won't hurt you. I want to help." He knew animals couldn't understand words, but they could understand tone. He spoke softly and moved slowly, just like he had learned in his classes. The fox's eyes never left his face. Do-won reached into his pocket and pulled out the small first aid kit he always carried. As he got closer, he noticed more unusual things about the fox. Its fur seemed to change color slightly when it moved, like oil on water. And there was a strange, sweet smell around it, like flowers he had never smelled before. "This isn't normal," Do-won whispered to himself. He had studied all kinds of animals, but he had never seen or read about a fox like this. Still, it needed help, and that was what mattered most. Very slowly, he reached out his hand. The fox sniffed his fingers, and to his surprise, gently pressed its nose against his palm. Do-won checked the wound more closely. It was deep, but clean, as if cut by something sharp rather than torn by another animal or a trap. Do-won made a quick decision. He couldn't leave this strange and beautiful creature here alone and hurt. His apartment wasn't far away, and he had medical supplies there from his veterinary training. He took off his white coat and very carefully wrapped it around the fox. To his amazement, the fox stayed completely still, as if it knew he was trying to help. When he lifted it, it was surprisingly light, and he felt a slight tingling sensation in his arms, like a gentle electric current. As Do-won carried the fox home, he didn't notice how its purple eyes studied his face, or how the strange marks on its fur briefly glowed in the growing darkness. He also didn't see the black shapes moving in the shadows behind them, or the way they seemed to watch and wait. What Do-won did know was that this evening was different from any other. As he walked quickly through the darkening park, holding the mysterious fox close to his chest, he had a strong feeling that his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. Do-won's small apartment was on the 4th floor of an old building. He carefully carried the injured fox up the stairs, grateful that none of his neighbors were around to see him. When he reached his door, he struggled for a moment to get his keys while holding the fox, which remained surprisingly calm in his arms. Inside, his apartment was neat but simple. Medical books filled the shelves, and a small desk by the window held his study materials. Do-One had converted half of his living room into a mini medical station for practicing his veterinary skills. This would be useful now. He gently placed the fox on his examination table, which was really just a sturdy wooden table covered with a clean white cloth. The fox watched him with those strange purple eyes as he gathered his medical supplies. Clean bandages, antiseptic, and the basic tools he used in his veterinary training. "Let's see what happened to you," Do-One said softly. As he cleaned the wound on the fox's leg, he noticed more unusual things. The fox's blood was not red like normal blood, but had a slight silvery shine to it. And when he touched its fur, small waves of light seemed to move under his fingers, like ripples on water. The fox didn't make a sound as he worked, which was very strange. Most injured animals would cry out in pain or try to bite when being treated. This fox just watched him work, sometimes tilting its head as if trying to understand what he was doing. After cleaning the wound, Do-One carefully stitched it closed. His hands were steady. He was top of his class in small animal surgery. As he worked, he talked to the fox, explaining what he was doing. "This might hurt a little, but it will help you heal faster," he said. The fox blinked at him as if it understood every word. When he finished, Do-One made a comfortable bed for the fox using old blankets in a large box. He placed it near his heater and put a bowl of water nearby. For food, he wasn't sure what to give it at first. He had some chicken in his refrigerator, which he cut into small pieces. "Here you go," he said, placing the food near the fox. "You must be hungry." The fox looked at the food, then at Do-One, and began to eat very carefully, almost like a person trying to be polite at dinner. That night, Do-One couldn't sleep well. He kept getting up to check on his unusual patient. Each time he looked, the fox was awake, watching him with those intelligent purple eyes. In the darkness, the strange markings on its fur glowed faintly, creating beautiful patterns that moved like stars in the night sky. Around midnight, Do-One was sitting at his desk, reading about unusual fox species on his computer. He had found nothing that matched what he was seeing. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked over at the fox. To his amazement, it was reading his veterinary book. The fox had pulled the book down from the low shelf and was carefully turning the pages with its nose. "That's impossible," Do-One whispered. The fox looked up at him, and he could have sworn, gave him a small smile. Over the next few days, the fox's wound healed unusually fast. Do-One noticed that the strange markings on its fur changed patterns each day, like they were telling a story he couldn't read. Sometimes, when he was studying, he would catch the fox watching his computer screen or looking at his medical diagrams with great interest. He started calling the fox Hayan, meaning grace of the sea, because its silvery fur reminded him of moonlight on ocean waves. Hayan seemed to like the name, perking up its ears whenever he used it. Do-One knew he should report finding such an unusual animal, but something held him back. There was something special about this fox, something that went beyond normal science. And deep down, he felt that keeping Hayan's existence a secret was important, though he didn't know why. What he didn't realize was that his kindness had set in motion events that would change not just his life, but the fate of the entire world. One week after finding the mysterious fox, Do-One woke up in the middle of the night. The full moon shone through his window, filling his small apartment with silver light. Something felt different. The air seemed to tinkle with electricity, and a soft blue glow came from the corner where Hayan slept. Do-One sat up in his bed and reached for his glasses. What he saw made him freeze. The fox was surrounded by swirling lights that moved like northern lights in the sky. The strange markings on its fur were glowing brighter than ever before, pulsing with a rhythm that reminded him of a heartbeat. "Hayan," he whispered, "are you all right?" The fox turned to look at him. Its purple eyes were now shining like stars. Slowly, the fox stood up. The lights around it grew brighter and brighter, until Do-One had to shield his eyes. There was a sound like soft wind chimes, and the air filled with a sweet, strange smell. When Do-One lowered his hand, he could not believe what he saw. Where the fox had been standing, there was now a young woman. She had long silver hair that seemed to float slightly in the air, and her eyes were the same striking purple as the fox's had been. She wore what looked like a uniform made of shifting colors that reminded Do-One of the night sky. "Hello, Do-One," she said in a gentle voice. "My name is Henul. Thank you for saving my life." Do-One sat very still, trying to understand what he was seeing. His mind, trained in science and medicine, told him this was impossible, but his eyes told him it was real. You were the fox," he managed to say. Henul nodded. "Yes, I am a stellar guardian, a member of an advanced race that watches over developing worlds like Earth. We can take different forms to avoid detection while we do our work." Do-One took a deep breath. "Are you an alien?" "Yes," Henul said simply. She walked to his window and looked up at the stars. "My people have been protecting Earth and other planets for thousands of years. We watch, we learn, and when necessary, we help." As she spoke, Do-One noticed that small points of light seemed to dance around her, like tiny stars following her movements. Her silver hair caught the moonlight in ways that defied normal physics. "But you were hurt," Do-One said, remembering the deep wound on the fox's leg. "How did that happen?" Henul's face grew serious. "I was attacked while investigating a threat to your world. Dark matter beings, we call them void hunters, damaged my transformation ability. I was trapped in fox form, unable to heal properly or return to my true self." She turned to look at Do-One, and her purple eyes seemed to see right through him. "But you found me. You showed kindness to a strange creature without asking for anything in return. Your gentle care and healing skills helped restore my powers." Do-One stood up slowly, his mind racing with questions. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because Earth is in danger," Henul said, "and because you have shown that humans are capable of great compassion. The void hunters I was tracking are planning something terrible. I need your help to stop them." Just then, they heard a strange sound from outside. Henul quickly moved away from the window, her face alert. "They're coming," she whispered. "The void hunters have found me." The moonlight suddenly dimmed, as if something dark was passing in front of it. Do-One looked out his window and saw what looked like shadows moving through the air. But these shadows seemed to have form and purpose. Henul stood next to him, her silver hair glowing brighter. "Do-One," she said urgently, "I know this is all very strange, but I must ask you, will you help me protect your world?" Do-One looked at the beautiful alien being who had been his unusual fox patient just moments ago, then at the threatening shadows outside. His life had changed completely in just a few minutes, but somehow he knew exactly what his answer would be. Do-One looked at the moving shadows outside his window, and then back at Henul. "Yes," he said firmly, "I will help you." Henul touched his arm gently, and immediately a shield of soft blue light surrounded them both. The threatening shadows outside seemed to retreat from the light. "Thank you," she said. "We must move quickly. There is much you need to know." She led him away from the window and sat down at his small table. The blue shield followed them, protecting them like a bubble. In the strange light, Henul's silver hair looked like flowing water. "My people, the Stellar Guardians, have watched Earth for thousands of years," Henul began. "We take different animal forms to study and protect your world without being noticed. Some of us become birds to watch from above. Others become sea creatures to guard your oceans. I chose to be a fox because they are clever and can move easily between cities and forests." Do-One listened carefully. "Is that why you seemed so intelligent when you were a fox? You were still you." "Yes," Henul smiled. "I could understand everything you said. I watched you study your medical books. I learned much about how humans heal and care for animals. Your kindness to creatures who cannot speak for themselves impressed me greatly." Suddenly, the lights in the apartment flickered. Henul's face became serious. "The Void Hunters are testing our shield," she explained. "They are beings made of dark matter, ancient and powerful. They travel through space, looking for worlds rich in life." "What do they want with Earth?" Do-One asked, though he felt afraid of the answer. "They want to harvest Earth's biological diversity," Newell said sadly. "Every living thing on your planet has unique patterns in its genetic code. The Void Hunters want to take these patterns and use them to evolve themselves. But their harvesting process destroys the original life forms completely." Do-One thought about all the animals he had learned to help and protect. The idea of them being destroyed made him angry. "Is that why they attacked you? Because you were trying to stop them?" Newell nodded. "I discovered their harvesting equipment hidden in an old temple in the mountains. They caught me examining it and attacked me with dark energy weapons. The blast damaged my transformation abilities and trapped me in fox form. If you hadn't found me and helped me heal—" She didn't finish the sentence. Instead, she reached into the air and pulled out what looked like a small star. It floated above her palm, spinning gently. "This is a data crystal," she explained. "It contains everything I learned about their plans before they attacked me. But I need your help to understand parts of it." "My help?" Do-One was surprised. "But your people are so advanced. What could I possibly help with?" "You understand Earth's creatures in a way we do not," Newell said. "Your medical knowledge, your experience with how animals behave when they are healthy or sick, these things are valuable. The Void Hunters will begin their harvest by changing animal behavior patterns. You will notice these changes before anyone else." The shield around them rippled as something dark struck it. Newell stood up quickly. "They are getting stronger," she said. "We must leave this place. There is a safe location where we can plan our next steps. Will you come with me?" Do-One looked around his small apartment. His medical books, his study notes, his ordinary life. Everything was about to change. But when he looked at Newell, saw the worry in her purple eyes, and remembered her trust in him when she was injured, he knew he couldn't say no. "Let me get my medical bag," he said. "Whatever these Void Hunters are doing to Earth's animals, we're going to stop them." Newell led Do-One through the quiet streets of Seoul, her shield of blue light making them invisible to ordinary eyes. The night was cold, and Do-One clutched his medical bag close. He had packed it with everything he thought might be useful: medicines, bandages, and his small medical tools. They reached a park on the edge of the city. Newell stopped near an old tree and pressed her hand against its trunk. A door of light appeared in the air. "This is a gateway to our safe place," she explained. "Please, step through quickly." Do-One walked through the light and found himself in a large room that seemed to be made of crystal. The walls changed colors slowly, like the northern lights he had seen in pictures. Strange machines floated in the air, showing pictures and writing he couldn't understand. "This is my research station," Newell said as she stepped through behind him. "It's hidden between spaces where the Void Hunters cannot find us easily." She walked to one of the floating machines and touched it. A map of Earth appeared in the air. Red dots began to appear on the map. "These are places where the Void Hunters have already started their work," Newell said sadly. "They are changing animals in these areas, making them behave strangely." Do-One looked closely at the map. "There are so many red dots," he said. "What exactly are they doing to the animals?" Newell's face grew worried. "The Void Hunters inject dark matter into living creatures. It changes them slowly. First, the animals stop eating normally. Then they become aggressive. Finally, they gather in large groups and wait." "Wait for what?" Do-One asked, though he felt afraid of the answer. "Wait for the harvest," Newell said quietly. "When enough creatures are under their control, the Void Hunters will activate their harvesting machines. These machines will pull the life energy from every affected animal, turning it into power for the Void Hunters to use." Do-One thought about all the animals in danger: the birds in the parks, the fish in the seas, even people's beloved pets. "How do we stop this?" Newell touched another floating machine. and a strange object appeared. It looked like a crystal flower with silver petals. "This is a purifying crystal," she explained. "It can clean the dark matter from living things, but it only works on small areas, and we need many more of them." Suddenly, all the machines in the room started flashing red. Haynul rushed to look at them. "No," she whispered. "They're starting sooner than I thought. Look at this." An image appeared showing a forest near Seoul. Hundreds of animals were gathering there. Deer, foxes, birds, and even some pets that must have run away from home. They all moved in the same strange way, like they were being controlled by something. "The Void Hunters are gathering their first harvest group," Haynul said. "We must stop them before they activate their machines. Do one. This is why I need your help. You understand animal behavior. You can tell which creatures have been affected and which are still free." Do-One watched the animals on the screen. He could see that their movements were wrong, unnatural. It reminded him of how sick animals behaved when they were in great pain. As a future veterinarian, he had sworn to help animals in need. Now that promise meant more than ever before. "We need a plan," he said firmly, "and we need it fast." He turned to Haynul. "Tell me everything you know about how these dark matter infections work. Maybe there's something in my medical knowledge that can help us fight this." Haynul smiled, hope showing in her purple eyes. "Together," she said, "we might have a chance. But we must hurry. The harvest is about to begin." In the Crystal Research Station, Do-One sat at a floating desk while Haynul showed him how to use her advanced equipment. The machines responded to his touch just as they did to hers, which surprised him. "Our technology recognizes pure intentions," Haynul explained. "Your desire to help Earth's creatures makes you compatible with our systems." Do-One was studying the three-dimensional image of how the dark matter affected animal cells. It reminded him of the diseases he had studied in veterinary school, but this was different. The dark matter wrapped around each cell like tiny black spiders, changing how they worked. "Look at this," he said, pointing to the image. "The dark matter attacks the nervous system first. That's why the animal's behavior changes. It's like a disease that spreads through their whole body." Haynul moved closer to look. Her silver hair brushed against his shoulder, and he noticed it smelled like starlight might smell, clean and bright and strange. "You understand this better than I do," she said. "My people know about space and technology, but you know about living things." Do-One thought carefully. "In veterinary medicine, we sometimes use one medicine to help deliver another medicine to the right place in the body. Could we use your purifying crystals the same way?" Haynul's purple eyes lit up. "That might work. We could create a delivery system that carries the crystal's energy directly to the infected cells." She touched one of the floating machines, and it started creating something new. While they waited, Haynul taught Do-One about the stars. She showed him maps of distant galaxies and explained how her people traveled through space. Do-One told her about Earth's animals, sharing stories about the creatures he had helped heal. "Your world is so full of life," Haynul said softly. "Each creature is different, special. The Void Hunters see this diversity as something to steal, but I see it as something beautiful to protect." The machine finished its work with a soft chime. A new device floated in the air. It looked like a small silver star with crystal points. "This will help deliver the purifying energy," Haynul explained. "But we need to test it." Just then, they heard a strange sound outside the research station. The walls turned dark, showing them what was happening outside. A group of infected animals had wandered near their hidden location. 2 deer, a fox, and several birds. All moved in the same unnatural way. "This is our chance," Do-One said. He picked up his medical bag and the new device. "We can help these animals and see if our cure works." Haynul looked worried. "It could be dangerous. The Void Hunters might detect us if we go outside." "Sometimes a doctor must take risks to help their patients," Do-One said firmly. He remembered the day he had found Haynul injured in the park. "You trusted me when you were hurt. Now trust me again." Hanul was quiet for a moment, then nodded. She created her shield of blue light around them both. Together then, she said, and opened the door to the outside world. As they stepped out into the night, Du-One felt both scared and excited. He was about to use his medical knowledge in ways no veterinarian ever had before. He looked at Hanul, saw the trust in her eyes, and knew that together they had a chance to save not just these animals, but all the creatures of Earth. Du-One and Hanul approached the infected animals carefully. Under Hanul's protective shield, they moved closer to the two deer, which stood unnaturally still. Their eyes had a dark, empty look that made Du-One's heart hurt. "We should try the device on one deer first," Du-One whispered. "That way, if something goes wrong, we can adjust our approach for the others." Hanul nodded and handed him the star-shaped device they had created. It felt warm in his hands and gave off a soft silver light. Du-One moved toward the nearest deer, speaking softly as he approached. "It's all right," he said in the gentle voice he used with scared animals. "We're here to help you." Even though he knew the deer couldn't understand him, speaking calmly had always helped him work with frightened creatures. The deer didn't run away. It just stood there, its eyes dark with the Void Hunter's influence. Du-One held up the device, and it began to glow brighter. Suddenly, the air grew cold, and dark shapes appeared around them. "The Void Hunters," Hanul called out. "They've detected us." She strengthened her shield as the shadow-like beings surrounded them. They looked like holes in the air, darker than the darkest night. But Du-One didn't stop. He pressed the device against the deer's neck, right where he would normally give an injection. The device released a burst of silver light that spread through the deer's body like flowing water. The deer's eyes cleared instantly. It blinked, looked around in confusion, and quickly ran away into the safety of the trees. The cure had worked. "Du-One, look out!" Hanul shouted. A Void Hunter had pushed through her shield and was reaching for him with shadow-like hands. Hanul threw a ball of starlight that drove the creature back. Working quickly, Du-One moved to the second deer. This time, the device worked even faster. The fox and birds were next. One by one, he freed them from the dark matter's control while Hanul protected him from the angry Void Hunters. But more shadow creatures were appearing. They seemed furious that their plan was being disrupted. Dark energy crackled in the air around them. "They're calling for reinforcements," Hanul said, her voice tense. "We need to leave." Before they could move, the largest Void Hunter appeared. It was like a tower of living darkness, with eyes that glowed like dying stars. When it spoke, its voice sounded like cold wind in an empty cave. "You dare interfere with our harvest," it said. "Your world's life energy belongs to us now. We have already infected thousands of creatures. You cannot save them all." Du-One stood straight and looked directly at the dark creature. "Every animal matters," he said firmly. "As a doctor, I took an oath to protect life. I won't let you hurt them." The Void Hunter laughed, a horrible sound like breaking ice. "Your human medicines cannot stop us. We are as old as the dark between stars." But while the creature was talking, Hanul had been doing something with her technology. She pressed a crystal into Du-One's hand. "The device taught us how their dark matter works," she whispered. "I've modified this crystal. Use it now." Du-One didn't hesitate. He held up the crystal, and it shot a beam of pure light into the sky. The light split into thousands of smaller beams that spread out over the city like a web of stars. The Void Hunters' laughter stopped. All around them, animals that had been hiding in the shadows began to shake off the dark matter's control. The web of light was healing them all at once. "Impossible," the Void Hunter roared. But its form was already beginning to fade as its hold on Earth's creatures weakened. "Nothing is impossible," Hanul said, "when science and compassion work together." The web of healing light spread across the city, growing larger and brighter with each passing moment. Du-One and Hanuel watched as animals everywhere began to wake up from the Void Hunter's control. Birds flew with their natural grace again, dogs barked with their normal cheerful energy, and wild creatures returned to their usual cautious behavior. The great Void Hunter was growing weaker, its dark form breaking apart like smoke in the wind. "This is not over," it growled. "We will return. There are more of us among the stars. And we will be ready," Hanuel said firmly. She stood tall, her silver hair glowing with starlight. "The stellar guardians will warn other worlds about you. Your harvesting days are finished." With a final angry cry, the Void Hunter disappeared. The other shadow creatures followed, fleeing back into the darkness between stars. The night became quiet again, filled only with the natural sounds of healthy animals. Duwan lowered the crystal, feeling tired but happy. He had helped save not just one animal, but all the creatures of Earth. Hanuel turned to him, her purple eyes shining with joy and something else, something that looked like sadness. "We did it," she said softly. "Your understanding of medicine and your compassion for animals helped create a cure that worked better than anything my people have ever made. You are remarkable, Duwan." Duwan smiled, but then he noticed Hanuel looking up at the stars. He knew what was coming, and his heart felt heavy. "You have to leave, don't you?" he asked. Hanuel nodded slowly. "My mission here is complete. The Stellar Guardians need to know about the Void Hunter's new tactics. We must prepare other worlds to defend themselves." She paused, then added quietly, "But I don't want to go." Duwan looked at her in surprise. Hanuel continued, "Working with you has taught me something important. My people watch and protect from a distance, but you taught me the value of working closely with those we help, of caring deeply." She held out her hand, and a small crystal appeared. It looked like a star caught in glass. "I have a choice to offer you," she said. "This crystal would let you come with me. You could help protect life on many worlds, not just Earth. Your medical knowledge combined with our technology could do amazing things." Duwan looked at the crystal, then at the city around them. He thought about his small apartment, his veterinary studies, the animals he helped every day. Then he thought about the stars, about other worlds that might need protection, about working with Hanuel to save more creatures across the galaxy. Or, Hanuel added softly, "I could stay. The Stellar Guardians would understand if I chose to be Earth's permanent guardian, to continue working with you here." Duwan reached out and took her hand. The crystal glowed between them, waiting for their decision. In that moment, he remembered finding an injured silver fox in the park, remembered choosing to help without knowing what it would lead to. Sometimes the biggest changes in life came from small acts of kindness. Sometimes helping one creature could lead to saving them all. As he stood there with Hanuel, the stars shining above, and the healthy sounds of Earth's animals all around them, Duwan made his choice.